so let's get started. And we have lots going on. So let's start off with a little bit about what you'd like to present today, Maurice, and where you want to get started.
Well, I'll start by saying that this is an early beta build that I have running. So I wanted to get a blue screen like Bill Gates or something like that.
Yeah.
But you may see messages pop up, but it's just to show you. I didn't want to do this. This is not, I won't say marketing, but this is technical. This is the bits that are being worked on. This build has been delivered to QA yesterday, I believe.
Sure.
So it's really early. I even have screenshots of other stuff that Stefan is working on, and I can only show you the screenshots.
Okay, because it's not even live.
It's not in the build yet. A lot of good stuff everywhere across the board. So that's what we'll see.
All right, fantastic. Okay, so do you want to dive right in? Let's take a look.
Sure.
All right, so let's switch over to Maurice's screen here. So hopefully you can all see it. Give it a couple seconds because sometimes it has to the page has to synchronize and refresh. And if at one point our voices mismatch, and Hopin's doing a lot better, and we're trying to stream at the best quality we can, but you may have to refresh your browser if things get a little bit off sync. So, all right, so go ahead and show us what we're looking at right now, and let's start your presentation.
Aren't you wondering about not being PowerPoint?
I'm wondering about that because, in fact, normally
wink, wink.
You have an amazing PowerPoint, and I'm sure you do. So where is the actual PowerPoint? I mean, we want to see RDM.
Well, but, I came, it's a dad joke. I came with that just minutes ago, but this is RDM point.
RDM point.
RDM point.
That's okay. So tell us exactly why or what you want to show in here.
Because we have such excellent documentation nowadays that I've put everything on folders so we don't have to toggle content between PowerPoint and Remote Desktop Manager. That has always been an issue. So it's right there. It's documentation in entries, and we'll just follow along, and I can show you around the product. It's quite small though. Is it a good experience for you guys? Because I've increased the size of the documentation, but I realize that this may be a little tiny for you. Anyway, we'll do our best. So documentation. So we've gotten a ton of user requests about that, and people use it more and more. Service providers and IT professionals obviously are making extensive use of it. Now we have multiple formats. So we do have HTML, Markdown, and plain text. And I love Markdown. HTML is not my cup of tea, but we have that WYSIWYG editor that is amazing. So no, this isn't hard. This is easy. So you don't need to learn. And in fact, we're hiding the complexity behind that editor. So I guess Markdown is versus HTML is a choice. Maybe you're integrating other software. You have other favorite tools. And I know developers love Markdown because it's that they have to use that when they're publishing to GitHub and stuff like that. So you pick your poison. It's really easy, and it's really a nice experience. Obviously, if you go in a Markdown, you'll see that that format versus the view presentation. So it's really flexible. You can paste images. You have tables. Again, everything that a modern editor provides is built in Remote Desktop Manager. So it's really a nice experience, I must say.
You know, it's interesting because I use RDM quite extensively, even though I'm in marketing, so it's not really my track of, I'm not the typical user, more sysadmins and MSPs and things like that. But I use this a lot, and I really like the fact of documentation because so many times you have an entry or something and you need to talk about what's going on in there, and sometimes opening up in the properties and going in some notes or some other thing like that is a little bit challenging, but the documentation tab has really beefed it up, especially when you can attach attachments to and things like that with
right.
So that's really helpful for me. I mean, I really like that. Yeah.
And you have history, full history. You can compare between versions, and you can revert the previous revisions. So it's really a really full-fledged experience as far as documentation goes. We feel, and I didn't edit the entry. It's just is active all the time. So we really love it. We get a ton of requests, as I mentioned. So I think this is a nice improvement for this release, and keep the requests coming for sure.
A question was from Yalcin Mandan. It said, "Can you copy and paste from Excel with markups?" I don't know if I haven't tried that yet, so I'm curious.
Yeah, because Excel, when you copy, it has its format, but it falls back to HTML behind the scenes. So I'd love to try it.
Good question. That's a great question. Yeah, we'll definitely keep it up. So, and they say, can you search for keywords in documents with this?
That's what I was going to talk about. And I wasn't sure because, no, I haven't gone as far. Last webinar we had Mark standing by for questions like that. Yeah. So maybe we forgot to invite him.
I think, there's going to be some folks in the chat too, so they might be able to answer, because remember, this is just still partially in.
Well, in fact, I don't know if they have the bits installed.
Oh, yeah. Very good. Okay. Well, we'll keep that in mind, though. Yeah. But by the way, all the chat comments, just so you know, all the chat comments, we actually save them and we read through them, and we send them to our support team after, because we're like, sometimes we haven't thought about that, or something that's really helpful.
And again, this is really early preview.
Sure.
And I found a few issues yesterday, and we discussed with David, and he's going to have improvements built in before it comes out as a beta. So,
absolutely,
it's really the time to catch these issues.
Exactly. And our QA team is actually, they're on point all the time. They really dived in deep to find these things.
They close issues. It's crazy how fast they go.
Awesome. All right.
Okay, so that was the documentation. Again,
cool.
Keep the request coming. It's I know, again, we're talking a lot with MSPs these days, and they have a huge demand for that type of stuff. But do not store passwords in there.
Absolutely.
At the last show, we were told that people are starting to use OneNote as a password manager.
Oh, man. Okay.
We used to onboard people that had passwords in Excel all the time.
Sure.
But OneNote.
Yeah.
Okay. Executables. Major changes. No more free edition.
Okay. All right, so wait a second. Wait, what is that? Okay, okay. Is there like a little vinyl snap thing? Okay, so what do you mean by that? Okay, so explain a little bit more, Maurice. So there's not going to be two executables to download, a free and a regular. So.
Right. So we've centralized in a single executable, and it is smart enough to know about the license. We'll see. You see that next topic is licenses. Yep. I don't want to go too far.
Okay.
But the executable is smart. Again, the free edition is so powerful. At trade shows, it's a running gag that when we come back, they ask, how much stuff did you sell? And we tell them, I sold a bunch of free. Because
it's so
there's a lot of resistance to introducing a new tool in your tool set. Everybody is putting fires out. They're overwhelmed. They're being told about cybersecurity. It's a nightmare in your day-to-day job. So when we mentioned that RDM saves 3 to 5 hours per week per tech, their eyes light up, but they don't have the time. Sometimes we give free licenses, and they don't take the time to try it out. So the free edition is really amazing. What is prevented from working is working as a team, so sharing that information. But in itself, the free edition is really an amazing tool.
Absolutely, yeah.
And a lot of value, and we even provide support for it.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Jeff. Yeah.
Jeff is in the background.
Yes. We're providing support and offering online sessions with people. People are amazed. I got an answer. I'm surprised. No, we're behind that product.
Yeah.
And it's not an upselling strategy. It's just, it works perfectly fine by itself. So the executable is smart enough to know if it's a licensed, therefore enterprise edition versus a free edition.
Okay.
Okay.
So there'll just be one, everybody will just download Remote Desktop Manager. And
Right.
that's the whole point. Yeah, okay.
Well, that wasn't my next point.
Okay.
We removed the bitness, so the 64-bit.
Yes, okay.
We removed it from the name. In fact, and David finds this really important, there's a big push towards supporting ARM64 native.
Okay.
Okay, so it's going to be in the next generation executable structure, and it requires work, but as a stepping stone, it made sense to just get rid of that bitness flavor in the name and have a single executable and have that free versus enterprise flexibility. So that same tool set is the same quality. We have that single toolkit to maintain nowadays, so less builds, less issues about content delivery and the stuff like that, maintaining updates. So it's just streamlining I feel we're doing, but it's in a good way.
Absolutely. And I think it'll be better for all of you too, because it's easier. You just download one copy and then you see what you need.
Yes.
If you feel like it's you need more of the advanced features, like we talk about team-based things.
Yes.
But if you're a single IT warrior, I mean, the free edition is extremely powerful, and it'll come with everything you need, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So very good.
Yeah. Really, again, I think I didn't look, but we were up at 500,000 users of the free.
Yeah.
Or is it 800?
Oh, that's a great question. Somebody in the chat will know. Jeff is there. I don't remember. I work in marketing and I forget these numbers, but yeah,
they're right in our face.
Yeah, we see it all the time, but yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's quite up there. It's very, very high. Yeah, absolutely.
So no questions about that?
Not so far. I mean, we got Richard and Erika and Jeff are in the chat, so they're going ahead and answering questions as needed.
So we can't even follow the scrolling. Yeah?
Well, I've got it. I'll watch it, but yeah, keep going. You're good.
Okay, licenses. Centralized license management. It's always been an issue to distribute licenses and manage them, and So we're improving, we feel, everything by centralizing the license key in the data source. Okay. So basically in the database. And yes, even for SQLite. So if you install the executable, it will say it's free edition. Local data source. You see?
Okay. Yeah.
No, it's free.
Yeah.
It's the free edition because I don't have a license key in my data source. But I do have the option of adding it. Okay, so that's how you make your free edition into a paid edition. You add that license there.
Wow, that's really simple.
In that button. It's simple, but the advantages, if I go back to my showcase, is that it's a push by the administrator of the solution. So a single push. And we had a ton of concerns, not issues, but when you needed to update a whole terminal services server, remote desktop services server, terminal services is the old name. So if you deploy Remote Desktop Manager on a remote desktop services environment on existing users, you had to patch the license. So it was a really complex for nothing. And so it's just managed by the admin of the solution. It's registered again in a database. So everyone, as soon as they connect to it, your RDM will reflect that change. So that helped us under remote desktop services. That removed the burden from custom installer packages. Those that do not know about that, they're really helpful for enterprise deployment. So that's our custom installer service. Look it up. Ask our friends in support. But that means that now we've removed that key from the custom installer package.
Okay.
So again, streamlining. There is a feature to automatically assign a seat to a new user. So if you have a count for 25 users, well, you'll see it reflect upon every user that you will create. And then at 26, you'll get denied. But for 2023.1, we're working on having a warning like 10% before.
Oh, makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
Because for those larger customers that have complex purchase order process, some unlucky ones, it takes like 6 to 8 weeks. So for them, they'll be able to customize the warning.
Okay.
The period before you get the warning. So again, that's preview of a preview, but still, we're thinking about you guys. You know, some of you guys have it really on the rough side for purchasing and budgeting. So we'll design the product to fit your requirements.
That's really cool.
And the users cannot see the license. Some of you guys were concerned about being stolen your RDM license and that it would limit you when we would validate the license whenever you activate a new one. So therefore, new users cannot view the license that is active. So again, a lot of streamlining, a lot of improvement in the enterprise processes. But for single users or small teams, it's as easy as before, you know. It's just a different place where you register your license. But what may take some getting used to is that you will see you will toggle between free and licensed if you choose another data source. So that's the first thing that jumped into my mind as I'm free. Oh yeah, that's normal.
Yeah. No, that's good. Absolutely.
So that was the license changes.
Okay, good. Well, I see a lot of. We got a lot of questions about that, and I feel like it's getting a little bit more, like you said, streamlined and simplified, because it can be, I'm not gonna say a nightmare, but it can be quite a challenge, especially for some very complex infrastructures for them to to do that. So that's very, very cool.
There's I don't know if we've ever mentioned this. David has a pet peeve with licensing, because way back when that's really a long time ago, we were playing Warcraft at a shop we worked with at. And he had that legal copy, and everything.
Sure.
And you had to insert the DVD before you could play, and just a lot of hassle, updating, maintaining, and everything. And people that had cracked the software, they had a seamless experience. So his pet peeve is that he wants a seamless experience as in regards to license management.
Yeah.
So for the longest time, he's always really stuck to its point about licenses being managed in an easy fashion. So that's where we're at right now. It's amazing, that 10 years later we're still doing changes.
Yeah,
and it's better, we feel. So.
Well, I think it's gonna be. It'll definitely help on your. And you folks, let us know how it works too as we transition into this. Let us know how things go, especially if you have a very complex environment, because we'd be very interested in seeing how in real world it's working out for you. So we want your feedback.
Yeah, because our larger customers are inquiring more and more about handling contractors and new employees, or really distributed teams. So it's really always being churned. Every discussion we're talking about that, making it easier. Privacy, also GDPR in Europe. So hiding names and email addresses of staff, because if you give access to a contractor, you don't want them to see that. That's basically your directory. So we want to hide that. So it's always in our mind. For sure, protecting that information and making your lives easier. So it's our goal.
Yeah, but it's interesting that we've been talking about licensing as a topic, because it seems like something more behind the scenes, but it can actually be a real pain.
Yeah,
in real life. Yeah, absolutely.
It happens once a year.
Yeah,
but if you have a hiccup, it's really disruptive.
Absolutely,
really disruptive.
Yeah,
because that when the first of the month is a Monday. In fact, the support team, we're blocking out the first of the month, the first few hours. No demos, we're just there to react to customers being out of their systems.
Sure.
So that's the first of the month. And when it's a Monday, I think we put an hour more. It's really something that we're aware of because it happens too often.
Oh, and it happens to us for other licenses of software that we use constantly.
Yes.
when our teams can't do their jobs because of something else.
Now we put
yeah.
SSL certificates. We put them in RDM. We put an expiry date, and we ran that report. That brought that dog fooding again. Open parentheses. We're doing a lot of dog fooding. So by putting these in there, we came up, we should, any user should be able to create a report for expiring entries. So we've modified that. It's just that dog fooding has been a priority of Dave. Has it been for 2 years now?
Mm.
And it changed the game drastically.
Interesting.
Yeah, because we live by our product.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and our security is really up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We often say that we're running like a 2,000 employee company as far as security goes because of SOC 2, SOC 3, ISO 27001, and that password hub is online. It needs to be really top-notch security-wise. So we're really mature in security stance. Our network is really secure, segmented. So we live by our tools, and when they have a hiccup, they have a feature request really the next day for sure.
Absolutely. All right, good. Let's look at what the next point you have here.
Subconnections. I've hated them for the longest time.
So tell us why.
So subconnections are dead. Long live subconnections. In the past, subconnections were really considered as a children of its parent entry, but it was really, really built like that. It was contained in the same object. It was really a hard link, and it was due to a customer demand request. They wanted to have a structure within that subconnection, that connection to have children. So we created that, and that started the downward spiral because then we created the batch edit. Is it 4 or 5 years ago now? And they couldn't support subconnections. And then we created attachments. And then they said, well, are they supported in subconnections? Or sadly, no. And then entry history. I want to revert to the previous history. No, you can't for that specific that child. So a lot of issues and concerns, and it brought a lot of feature requests non-stop for the longest time. But we didn't have a solution and I guess the capacity to do it until now. And I think Stefan worked a lot on that, and it's really a seamless, again, streamlining and marketing of your processes. So now they're full-fledged connections. They live on their own in a database. They're linked to their parent using just a field, and it allows for attachments, documentation, full entry history. So you can revert to previous version, or you can restore if you had deleted it. And so whenever you start, you connect to a data source with our latest version of RDM. It will migrate automatically your pre-existing subconnections on the fly and convert them. And we did the test this morning. I dared Stefan, come on, paste from an old data source. Oh, let's test this. And he did it, and it worked wonders.
Wow.
It pasted it. It created the old style subconnection. And then at the next refresh, it was created as a new style subconnection. So it's just a bunch of benefits. For you guys, it's the same appearance.
Okay.
You show subconnections below its parent. There's a link. There's information, and you have the variables are working to reach the parent. So for you guys, it's the best of both worlds.
Okay.
But now you get all of that nice icing on a cake. Attachments, documentation, history, restore, and so on.
Okay.
So it's really a nice improvement. Again, after 10 years, something major that was at the core of our tool, we've just improved.
Absolutely. So more of a behind the scenes thing, but definitely something that they'll see because some of the features that were kind of hidden or not available will now be there. So now, will there be any major timing? So if somebody opens up a data source with lots of subconnections, will it take a while for that migration to happen, or is there an indication of what's going on in the background?
You had to go there.
I had to go there. Sorry.
We're going to have a chat after. No, I think for sure there's going to be an impact. I don't know, again, how many of you guys were extensively using subconnections.
Okay.
Again, this is live. I'm just trying stuff. I'm going in a diagnostics and the data source report. So this is a really lightweight data source, but you would see for each vault, and you do see subconnections.
Okay. Oh, so that's a great way to see how many you have. Just make
right.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's a trick. Obviously, if you work for your guys' tier 2 and tier 1 customers, did we ever bring this up?
Oh yes, we'll have to do that presentation again.
All right. So those of you that are using the enterprise backend, so be it Password of Business or Devolution Server, a lot of times you get assistance while you upgrade. So that Erica is there. Take that down. You should look at the number of subconnections prior to doing the upgrade, and we'll see if there is a potential issue.
Okay.
But it's a good point.
Okay. Well, good. I was just thinking on the fly there about, sometimes when we do changes like this, especially when they have huge, lots of multi-vaults, data sources with lots of connections, things can go a little bit differently depending on the customer and the size. But, okay. Well, but the good thing, the end result, regardless, will be a much more efficient system after that.
In that case, it's going to be enriched because you have so many more features that you were prevented from using. And if you were using them on main connections, you felt really poorly served.
Absolutely, yeah.
So now it's just everyone's on the same footing, and you have all of that nice power of RDM behind the scenes.
Very good. Okay, good.
Okay, so that was sub connections. Entry templates. Entry templates.
By the way, I like this this new format of PowerPoint or RDM point.
RDM point.
No, just because you can see you've. One of the comments is a lot of times folks say we just want to see RDM, and I get it, but there's sometimes some theoretical stuff in the background that we have to discuss and more
and
high
it just
altitude.
Came to a flash to me. So I asked you, can we show my PowerPoint and switch to my RDM, and then I just realized, come on, I'm showcasing documentation. I could have made it much nicer, but it's just straight and to the fact.
Absolutely.
and it just works.
Cool.
I was about to go in templates, entry templates. So that's the old view. So even in that beta, I don't have the nice new modern view.
Okay.
But that used to be a problem because you don't see what's in there, because in fact I have 2-3 folders, a bunch of RDP SSH entries. So it's really a poor user experience. And again, listening to you guys, service providers do use that extensively. In fact, they have a template for customer that has a Windows domain and Office 365 and blah, blah, blah. And then they have another template for customers that are more on-prem, AD, networking equipment, a switch or 5, and so on. So they're building up their templates, and it's a bit of a pain to maintain them. So all I have are screenshots. Got the beach ball. Scrolling.
No problem.
Fill the void.
Yeah, no, that's it's yeah, exactly. Do a dance and juggle. But no, what's interesting though is like he's saying, he's showing stuff that. So who gave you the screenshot? Was it Stéphane?
Stéphane, yeah.
So Stéphane sent us some of what it's going to look like. So it's live but not live. But you'll see this when it's in the release. So all right, so show us what it looks like here in the
image. So you see that new view.
Okay.
With my folders, I have a password list here.
Yep.
I have an RDP session. I have SSH shell connection to the switch. The folders are named. You can use variables and so on. So that's you see right from the get-go what's in your template.
Okay.
And when you right-click and apply that template, you're prompted with that choice. So you can create. In the past, you didn't know really where it would be created because did I right click on the folder or whatever?
Yeah.
So you'll be offered the choice to create that folder or not, depending on where you're at. And Stéphane has really a nice idea. In the next release, he'd like to have a preview tab here, showing exactly what he will do. So again, preview.
A preview of a preview.
Don't say I promised anything.
But we're working on it.
That's a good idea. And again, keep your requests coming. But you can see right now that it's a much better experience. In the past, it was like a black box, and you couldn't really edit. It was really copying, recreate, and then you use it. Oh man, I messed up. Yeah. Delete everything, start from scratch. So now it is a mature feature.
Okay.
Because sometimes, I don't know if you notice, sometimes we come out with a feature and it's minimal viable feature.
Sure.
And then we wait to see what you guys think. Where should we bring that feature? And is it being adopted? I remember one of the first tasks that David gave me when I joined Devolutions was to create a to-do system. And I think for 5 years, we didn't have a feature request. Nothing. So we just left it as it was. And then we started getting requests and so on. So it's always like, we'll throw a line, we'll see if someone bites.
Yeah.
And it just works. And it makes for a much better product in the end.
Very cool.
I had, what other images did I have? Yeah, so that's the template. So that's a focus on the template as Stéphane provided. This is when you use it, and this is the end result.
Okay.
So cool. It's, again, nice improvement, just better supporting you guys.
Very neat. All right. People so far, everybody's excited about it and they're happy for it. So that looks like it's good.
I see a GIF. I'm curious.
Yeah, we have a GIF. So we just like they're raising their hands. So it looks like they're excited about it. So
good. PAM Vault.
PAM Vault. All right.
PAM Vault.
Tell us a little bit about that.
PAM. There you go. PAM Vaults to the rescue.
Yes.
We created dashboards for our PAM partners.
Okay.
CyberArk, Beyond Trust.
Yep.
Secret Server. And then we came up with our own PAM, and we created a dashboard for it as well. There's a huge difference between Vault managers and between IT technicians, operators of RDM. RDM's major strength, in my view, is its asset-centric philosophy.
Yeah.
Because you look for an asset, double-click, and you're connected.
Sure.
We take care of the gateway, the VPN, a tunnel, whatever. We grab the credentials from wherever, inject them transparently.
Yep.
And again, it's a sub-10-second operation to reach an asset, even if it's far behind the scenes. But Vault admins, those that put in place PAM solutions, they have an account-centric view of things. So if you go in PAM solutions, you have a nice web dashboard, and you're drilling down, finding the safe, viewing just the assets, the accounts in that safe. And it's just looking for stuff it takes forever. So, but we created the dashboard. There was a reason for that, and it was to bring really the features, the granular features that you use day in, day out. We wanted to bring them in RDM, so you do not have to go in your PAM solution, even our own, because if you need to do a checkout, if you need to lock, if you need to do a bunch of stuff to view its state, we felt that the dashboard was the much better experience because you're remaining in RDM.
Yeah.
But that philosophy is still, again, there's a break between the two because drilling down again in PAM solutions takes forever, selecting the safe vault, and poor search capabilities, and you don't see the full picture. So we wanted to bring that hierarchy back to the PAM space.
Okay.
So I'll be switching to a weird data source. So don't worry about seeing test 1, test 2, and stuff like that.
Now, how is this data source created, first of all? So traditionally, when we add a data source, we add it by clicking add data source and you add it. So how is this data source formed as opposed to the traditional ones that we use?
Well, that is the data source. I'm just switching to a PAM system.
Okay.
So I can show you the PAM view.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay. It's just a data source that we use for internal testing here.
Okay. Oh, so we have to authenticate.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Makes sense.
Yeah, because you have a PAM view when you're connected to a PAM system.
Yep.
Logging on. Okay. And I'll need to expand that a little bit. And then you see a nice little new button that appeared.
Wow.
And you see that black is because I used that black theme, which we'll get soon after. Yeah. And it remained black. So, Jeff, log a bug. Obviously, we could have a deeper hierarchy, but again, this is bringing that richness of RDM of presenting in an hierarchy what exists in your PAM system. So we could imagine, again, this is early, but we could imagine having your safes or your vaults in there. And then we would query the content only when you expand it, and then searching, filtering, and so on. But this is the first stage, is to bring back that hierarchy view of your PAM system, because, again, our customers keep complaining that those PAM systems are not user-friendly, and we agree. There is still a need, I feel, or reason for presenting information in that fashion for security departments, for again the safe admins, when they're doing their SOC 2 review, access reviews. There's some benefits to using that, but for using privileged accounts, it's basically the worst that can exist. So we want to again bridge that gap. It's one of my taglines: bridging the gap between the PAM and connection management. But this will show the view, the access, and we can decide in the future, what's in my column chooser. So there's nothing yet that I can customize, but again, we'll see where you guys bring us as far as feature request goes, because we could have an icon for the checkout status. We could have a bunch of stuff. But this is the first step into really a nice new feature that will provide you better visibility into your PAM than what it offers you by design.
Very cool.
So again, something really nice that we can build upon that for sure.
That I think it's really neat though that we're headed in that direction, because this is something that it's kind of one of those pet peeves, or like frustrations when you're dealing with it and trying to bring it into RDM. because there's nothing wrong. Most of you will have to go to your PAM system anyway to do much more work. But when you're trying to do the quick things, to get things, the day-to-day tasks, right?
Well, I keep telling people in shows, RDM looks like a productivity tool because it just allows you to connect in a double click, and you don't need to worry about passwords, tunnels, gateways. We just take care of it for you. I call that the white glove service, the concierge service.
Yeah.
So bringing PAM into the mix for a lot of you guys has lowered productivity, really a huge hit on our productivity. So we want to give you back that productivity and even go a little further because automated checkouts, automated check-ins, they're all on our mind all the time for all of the PAM partners we have. And it makes, our own PAM better because, again, dog fooding, we're using it.
Yeah.
So it's always on our minds when we design features.
Absolutely.
In the PAM space.
And one thing we've learned a lot too, partnering with people like CyberArk and Tycotic Secret Server and things like that. And we've learned a lot about doing it ourselves that you said sometimes we didn't realize, oh man, this is definitely a big thing. So,
and sometimes you say, that's a pain.
Yeah,
that's
it's a pain.
Let's,
and sometimes
let's fix that.
So that's the whole, and by the way, this is given some little anecdotal evidence, but this is what spawned our CEO David to create Remote Desktop Manager because of his day-to-day pain
was to manage
remote connections.
His three virtual machines that he worked on.
Yeah, exactly. So it all started from that. But I guess that's the innovation, right? That's how we.
Well, what's your pain, and let's try to fix it.
Absolutely.
And what keeps you awake at night? It's all really marketing sounding bits, but it's the truth.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, cool. This is very interesting. We have some nice GIFs as well. People are excited about that. So they're
So you see that checkout is offered.
Okay.
That's our PAM. That's really streamlining that workflow. It's really the streamlining. That should be the tagline of 2022.3. But it can really go further. But in the case specifically of CyberArk, it's our biggest seller. A module. We still need to keep that dashboard alive for maintaining that connection to the backend and to benefit from that connect with action. So I'm talking to maybe 10% of our customers, but there is some need still for that mechanism.
Sure.
How it will exist in the future, I can't say. Because to be frank, David has the feeling that the PAM entries should appear, you should be able to show them in your tree view, mixed in with your connections. So he's working on the UX, he has ideas, but for sure, presenting grids is not frowned upon, but can we do better?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very neat, very neat. I think they're liking it so far with this.
Liking
with
it?
this so far.
They should be loving it.
Loving it, yes.
Going back, where are we? It's going fast.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was called PAM Vault. That's an actual thing that when you log into data source that has a...
Well, for now, it's Devolution Server.
Devolution Server, yeah.
But
you get that.
We're going to, again, build upon that.
Okay.
And we'll see if it sticks, obviously. If you guys have 10 feature requests, we'll say, okay, people have interest, they want to see stuff, they want to improve stuff. So we'll see that for sure, because sometimes when we get feature requests, one person out of 800,000, okay, yeah, sometimes people are 10, 15, 20 requesting another feature. We'll work on that, obviously, with highest priority.
Yep.
Okay, better management of security-wise, our role-based access control. And I can't show you that on my build, but much like Hub has been doing, they've predefined roles. So contributor, manager, operator. So we've came up with a list. Obviously, behind the scenes, it's still a rich, granular set of distinct permissions, but we've packaged them in a manner that makes sense when you think of a contributor or a manager. It's okay. A contributor will be able to create entries. Manager will be able to delete and stuff like that. So it's a tiny change, but our security system, our role-based access control, I think every year we have changes. It's just responding to requests because ultimately you want to be granular, really, really in depth. But for new user and for mainstream scenarios, you want something really easy. And that's Azure started with that, and we just like that idea, and then we've been pushing for that even further. So
especially with the onboarding process, because sometimes roles, they're fluid, because things change as people need.
Yeah.
But starting them off in the right track will definitely help, reduce access if needed, but then provide it where you need it granularly. So very, very good. But so where are these the role-based access control? Where are these predefined roles? Where can we see them?
Well, I can't show you. So,
okay.
I guess it's going to be in the video that you'll be creating.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, because the reason why I say that is in Password Hub Business, we did a whole Getting Started series that I have to redo because the UI changed, but it's much nicer now.
Right.
I talk a lot about those roles even more when we're inviting new users now. Obviously Password Hub is a much more simplified version of these other systems, but it's very, very powerful yet, and those roles do really come in handy when you're onboarding your whole staff. It's really,
when we compare ourselves with other password managers, we're not behind at all.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah, we're up there, and our struggle is creating documentation for end users because we've never had to do that before.
Sure.
So we have you've had to create a few sets of videos for our end user persona.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which will be named unnamed.
Unnamed, yeah, exactly. But that's interesting because what we've found, and this is almost like not a feature request, but some of you folks have multiple employees or multiple workers, and then you've taken my videos that are made with our team, and you've sent my videos to all your staff in email format, or I say, watch this so you know how to do this, and which is great, but that puts more pressure on us to
we wrote the whole Getting Started just for that.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
For that persona, and it makes sense because we can't train. We have a customer that had requested like 11,000 licenses.
Yeah.
So we can't imagine supporting that. So
we
need to automate, create content, help their users.
Absolutely. Yep. Michael Baudouin said that it's in system setting permission sets. He said that those things will be available to
Bobo.
He's live back there. So
system settings. Okay. Yeah, I won't drill down in there.
Okay, but anyway, so it is available if you want to take a look. And but he said also that the ticket is open to add a button to access the PAM Vault from the bottom bar directly. So he said they're gonna
bottom bar.
Yeah, Jeff just posted that as well.
Bottom bar.
Figure out where the bottom bar is. So maybe another button
because we have that when we're bound to a Devolution server.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I guess we'll see.
All right. Well, no, this is good. But anyway, okay, keep going. So yeah, definitely those predefined rules I think will help. It makes more sense for certain, especially for that process of bringing people on. So
yeah, well, you can get started quickly.
Yep.
And then you can tune it
as
further.
Needed. Yep.
Because one of the major complaints as for our competition is their really huge period required to start up with the system. So months in staging. So we want to never, ever go there. So for us, we keep telling people that we deploy even in complex environment in a matter of hours.
Yeah.
And the next day you can start using it. So that's our focus.
Cool.
Okay. Now the bad news.
What's leaving us? Yeah.
What's leaving us?
Yep.
Well, it's sweet. This is a good news. In fact, we've deprecated Devolutions online database
in
favor of Devolutions Password Hub.
Yes.
So those of you that had a proper email we have received extensive mailings on that. We've written about it in our blog. And when we noticed that some customers weren't reacting, we created new features in the hub so you would have system messages. And sadly, we're nagging now because we're reaching the end. But every time we did a brownout, so when we shut down the system voluntarily, just to draw attention. So every brownout we we've had new customers popping up.
Okay.
That I said, hey, what's going on? I'm using this. What's going on? So we recommend porting to Password Hub. If you're using Devolutions on the online database individual, you migrate easily to Password Hub personal.
Yep.
And if
which is free, yeah.
Which is free.
Yeah, absolutely. It works really, really well too. I really like it. Yeah.
In fact, it's become my private vault.
Yeah.
When using the server, it's just my personal stuff is in there. It's personal. The whole family is using it. It's well integrated with the amazing Workspace application.
The app, which we're doing a lot more documentation on.
You are?
Yeah. Well, videos and things like that, because a lot of folks, and rightfully so, were slightly just not confused, but they were like, "Well, Workspace, what is it? What is it exactly? Does it do? Is it an authenticator?" Yes, but we're porting all of our. Because we used to have individual apps to view your vaults, in those. So we're putting it all into the Workspace app to use that. So we'll definitely have to do probably a webinar on that
for sure.
And talk about it, because it's growing, and the team is working really hard to make it as simple and seamless as possible.
And without doing a webinar on Password Hub, it's the tool of choice. Well, the first primary tool of choice when using the hub is Devolutions Web Login.
Yep.
Because I've used other products that are in the news these days.
Yes.
Years ago.
Yeah.
And I went into my vault, what was it, once, twice per quarter? I never had to go there. You use the web login extension.
Yeah.
That's your view into your passwords. And that's where you use them. And even if it was for starting a local app, you go grab the password and paste it. So that's for personal stuff. It's great. So that's the primary tool of choice for Hub. The secondary tool of choice, which has become, I'd say, it's almost on par for me, is Devolutions Workspace.
Yep.
Because with the Hub, you have internal messaging, secure messaging, it's called. Yeah. With Devolution Server, you have messaging. You can approve checkouts. You can do a lot of stuff. And again, the roadmap of Workspace is extensive, and we're waiting for a lot of stuff anxiously just to make because if you imagine, again, in the PAM space, those high-level techs that rarely have connection management in mind will have to perform approvals. So you don't want them to have to launch RDM or to open a web portal. So they'll have that nice Devolutions Workspace. Yes, check out, approved, just 2 hours, please, and then done. So that's the experience we're looking for.
Yeah.
And it's really a nice app with an excellent team, and it's they just can't go as fast as I'd like. They have tons and tons of feature requests.
Yeah.
Because I have Password Hub Personal. I have a bunch of Password Hub Business. Yep. I have my server.
Yeah.
And everything's in there. And since we're backupping your app registrations when you scan a QR code,
absolutely,
so that's being backed up. So we've heard horror stories of people losing their phones and they had no backups for their 2FA.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely a work in progress, but we're trying to make it integrated, because we know a lot of times we have people live by their phones nowadays. I mean, we had somebody, a coworker, Port France, the other day. She came to work, and she works with Password Hub a lot, and she forgot her phone at home, so she couldn't log. No, but she couldn't log into. No, but we understand. This is a real life. And it's not like she just lives down the street. So she she couldn't get into, but she had an old phone that she had already that she could log in.
She the backup?
Yeah, it was she was able to. She was able to do it and get in. So so good job, France. But the other thing is to realize that's a big deal. Like you forget something, especially with all the 2FAs, the MFAs, all the different authentication things that we want people to do. It can just be a challenge. So
I can't. No, if I forget my phone, I turn back. Sorry.
Work from home. Yeah.
No, I can't imagine. It's our security system. I have access to everything in there. It's really my life.
Absolutely. But so that's good though. So so even though we are going to deprecate some things, there are some new things that we're improving, especially for these cases. Yeah.
Again, Password Hub is SOC 2, soon to be SOC 3, or is it published yet? I don't know. ISO 27001. It's really monitored. It's pen tested. It's really under the everyone's eyes. It's
but really like I said, this does not a marketing spiel from this point of view. But if you haven't tried it out yet, you need to check out the free version because it's really powerful, and integrating it with RDM is very nice, especially at that point. And then
that's the thing. We tell people that it's a password manager, yes, but it's an advanced data source for remote desktop manager.
Yeah,
what?
Exactly.
Yeah, because they seek connections. What's that? No, it's not password. So we need to adapt to who we're speaking to at the moment.
Yeah,
but it's really powerful.
Absolutely. But very cool. All right, so.
Okay, what else is in the cemetery? WebDAV.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it was a user request for long ago, really not used a lot, a cause for many issues over the years. So it was just deprecated, as well as FTP, SFTP, Web, and Amazon S3. In fact, those other data sources that we're deprecating were storing the XML somewhere else.
Yeah.
That XML was our old format, which we've replaced by SQLite. What was it? I think you joined us. It was already SQLite.
Sure. Yep.
4 years ago, 5 years ago.
About that time.
So because SQLite allows us for much better experience. XML was good for a really entry-level product, but we needed a database quite rapidly. So SQLite. So we've removed all of that. Again, it may be a problem for you guys. It's easy to import. It's just a better experience because people were storing this in Dropbox, the XML file.
Yeah.
And so I'm not buying your product, okay? And they were concurrently using the XML file, and we didn't design the product for that. So it was last man wins. So we never wanted to support that. We know people did it, but it's just a database allows for integrity and encryption and so on. It's a much better backend in our view. So it's an end of an era, but it's a bygone era. So it should be. We're now 2022. We're there.
Yep.
In my last speech, my tagline was like, 2010, you were being told to use a password manager.
Yeah.
2015, you were told to use 2FA. 2022, where are we now? Where is cybersecurity today? And where do you stand in your security practice? And you can't keep doing things of these types because they're just not up to it.
Absolutely, yeah. We have to evolve with the times.
And it's not changing for changing. I know whenever we change the UI, we always get complaints, always. Because some people accuse us of changing for the sake of changing. Well, it goes. Usability is something, user experience is something else. And the old tool sets are deprecated. The new tool sets are providing a lot of services. So it's always give and take. But David insists on doing these changes because he finds that there's value in it. We're not putting resources for something that is that has no value for sure.
Sure, and that it kind of makes sense. And, you know, our folks understand that very everyday life for them. But, you know, we don't want to not waste time, but put so many resources when we could on something that really is not having a great user experience, when we could put it on something like Workspace or something like that,
Right.
and it taxes our folks to do that, and you get stretched thin, and then you end up not doing things very well.
And to think, how many devs do we have here?
Oh, yeah,
we're
yeah.
a huge company,
Yep.
dev-wise, and it's just we have so many ideas and so many feature requests that we must pick and choose really what we're working on.
Absolutely. Okay, great. Keep going. The chat's going well. By the way, they're answering all the questions. Bobo, Michael Baudouin. So we just called him out, Bobo online. So there you go. But he's putting some screenshots and stuff for the different permission set features and things like that.
Well, Bobo is really a cornerstone of the RDM Windows team.
Yep.
He's been there forever, it seems.
Yeah.
With the Hubert. So really strong team, RDM Windows. And, you know, the other teams, the other platforms, they have a really, not a struggle, but they must pick and choose, again, what features are they porting to their editions, and it's always looking at what's coming. And in the past, they used to follow only, and now they create stuff, and they work in RDM Windows. It's really a nice, really team-based environment. And the products are moving along.
Very cool.
All
right, what else?
I see. Yeah. Will you cry? It's again. I think it's not supported anymore. The poor user experience, a lot of reasons, but we've just removed it from RDM, and
all right.
That's all I'll say about that.
No problem. All right, so that's okay. Now to good stuff. More good stuff.
Yes. Well, we're coming up to the end. We're going fast. Again, I could look at the don't peek. I could look at the minor release notes, the changes, the breaking changes, but I didn't want to go in that depth.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of value in what we've seen. Some features look like, okay, it's a one bullet in the change history, but it's weeks of work. And again, making the product much, much better. Like my amazing account tab, I just love it.
Okay, cool.
If I had my user profile,
very nice.
I clicked here. It's that button here.
Okay.
And if I had my picture, it would be presented, and as well on the tab. So again, the UX, basic information about the user, instant theme changing. No?
Yeah, pretty cool. No, but that's actually nice. You don't have to go out, exit out, and close out and do all this stuff.
And before David mentioned it, I said, but I realized that I keep using it myself on my devices.
Yeah.
I changed the theme because because it's to improve readability. I get offended at night, so I keep changing the themes and having to restart every time. And I don't want to follow my on my Apple devices. You can follow the nighttime.
Oh
and
yeah,
so on.
absolutely. Yeah,
but I don't want to, because it's disruptive. I want to do it myself. It's right there. It's instantaneous, and it gives for a better experience. But the other thing, when I said that people complained when we changed the UI, the introduction of the ribbon, what was it? It was when we got the library that matched with Office 2010, I believe, or 2016, ages ago. People complained that it was too big, taking too much real estate, and now you can finally we can go back to a old style menu.
Yep. So just everything dropped down.
Yep.
Okay. Wow, that's cool.
So I should have done that first, starting my demo, because it frees up so much real estate up top.
Absolutely.
But again, obviously, our setups at work on our desk, we have multi-monitors, and it's not a worry. But on a laptop, it is important to free up that screen real estate for sure.
Yeah.
So that's account
in
a tab. at the bottom of your navigation tree panel.
Very neat.
What's the name?
Yeah.
And so there. Themes and the simple menu rather than a ribbon.
And then above, I do notice it does list a little bit of some of the
user information.
user
Again,
information
that's,
roles and things like that.
that can be further improved, adding features. We'll see what makes sense here.
Okay.
But we do have shortcuts left and right. Well, in fact, I'll go immediately if I select the root, admin. So you see a nice overview. So that's in the invite for the webinar.
Okay, yeah.
It was mentioned Jira integration,
Yeah.
admin dashboard, and I realized that I didn't get screenshots for the Jira integration.
Oh, okay.
Shucks.
No problem.
So remind me to talk about that later. So that dashboard has shortcuts to bring you to that proper area.
Okay.
So that whole mentality, these are tiny details, but and they are bleeding through all of our products because we've been doing that for 2 years in Devolution Server. When we introduced the PAM, we said, all right, you need to go there. So we've added shortcuts everywhere. So that's RDM's doing that as well. Helpers, and you can pick and choose where you come to it, but ultimately you'll be brought to the proper area. So you see that's, again, that basic dashboard. But if you go there, and if you have thousands of entries, it's going to calculate that score. It's going to take a while. For those of you that go there the first time, don't be surprised. But you see that security score. So we have put best practices in play. And again, the goal is not to reach 100%, because for some, we've went along the lines of best practices and what do experts feel is best. But let's say you're accessing the SQL Server through a VPN in which you're highly confident in, and you have zero trust in place, and MFA, and so on and so on and so on. You may elect to ignore some of these recommendations. So these are low scores, and I have almost nothing. And you can look at the details.
Okay, and I'll tell you why.
Okay, so that, in fact, had existed since 2022.2. It's just, I guess, a fluke. It was mentioned, or it was such improved that we mentioned it in our webinar invite. But this is there. You have really nice features to show you, and you have explanations, and you have the again, these are really a matter of opinion sometimes.
Sure.
But not this one. You should use TLS to your database. Transparent data encryption is when you have enterprise edition of SQL Server, I believe. So it's not for everybody again. So you just look at them granularly and see what you want to do about that, because this one, offline mode, should be disabled for sure. If you're in a PAM space, if you have highly sensitive accounts, prevent offline mode and require constant connectivity to your backend. But MSPs that are going at a customer site and they're in a server room when there's no internet and so on, they require that offline capability. So you pick and choose. But still, you'll see where we're coming from. You'll see the pros and cons maybe of each feature. And again, in regards to offline capabilities, you can grant that right granularly per role or per user group or per user. So you can pick and choose. So just thinking about that is really gives you a handle of your system that you're managing. So that's really a nice feature. That's the security report from the administration dashboard, which again gives you a nice view into your system. And you see again, a view of admin tasks.
Okay, great.
Good?
Yeah, it definitely gives you a maybe kind of a roadmap or a starting place where you could say what kind of security features should we that maybe you didn't even know about, sometimes.
Right.
And I did notice that you guys were citing the actual standards
NIST
in there, the NIST standards.
The security team really did their homework on there.
Yeah. So the idea is take it or leave it, but the idea is it's just to give you an idea of what's happening behind the scenes and what, kind of like an overview of your system.
And, in the future, would like to help you even further. Let's say you wanted to do a SOC 2 access review. We'd like to have something called SOC 2 access review in there and help you go through that painful process that takes hours and hours every quarter. So that's the goal. We'll see where that goes. But we have a ton of good ideas. We're really smart.
We're surrounded by really smart people. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, PAM integrations. Yeah, starting with this build, we already add existing licenses for the CyberArk module. Now we're going to require the same for Secret Server and Beyond Trust. Do not worry, you're grandfathered in. So just contact us and we'll generate a new one that fits with your current invoice, be it 1 year or 3 year. I say later, free until October 2023, but obviously if you had purchased for 3 years, you're good to go. And we had discussions about that during our strategic outing. And the decision is that whenever we make the effort of creating a dashboard, we'll call it a module. Because integrating, if you look at CyberArk, the first integration we did was a credential entry called CyberArk. And it was, we get it, and then we use it as any other credential in our system. But creating a dashboard is a whole new ballgame. So this is a deep integration with their REST APIs. It's to maintaining the token, the lifetime, and so on. It has a bunch of benefits, especially in regards to MFA, but it does require a lot of more work. And so therefore we will require a license, but you will be grandfathered in. I know we're working with HashiCorp. We're working with a bunch of others. We should have a lot more integrations coming this year. It's just we need more time. I know a bunch of you are waiting for a SAML, both for Thycotic and for CyberArk. We're still working on that. It's a huge pain. We having issues back and forth. It's taking a lot of time, and sadly, this has to fit in all of our day-to-day. So sometimes it makes things for much longer implementation time. But it is really a top priority. So we work until we're jammed, and then we have to wait to be unjammed. So that's for CyberArk and Thycotic.
Okay.
PAM. There. Ticketing system integration. So I do not have that feature, and I do not have a screenshot that I can show you because I have the ticket. But it's just to say that when you do an operation that requires entering comments on an entry, you'll be able to specify that you have an integration with a ticketing system.
Okay.
Only Jira for now.
Okay.
On our roadmap was ServiceNow. We're looking at others in the MSP space.
Yep.
And close to home, we have these seem to be really regional in nature because in our province, everyone that's government related is using the one that I won't mention. But so we'll see where that goes. But now what is key is that we have that mechanism in place. It is plug-in like. So we have that mechanism that will get tickets from somewhere and show them to you, and you'll be able to pick, okay, it's my ticket that is either assigned to me. In the case of Jira, it was in a queue. So you had to build a filter.
Okay, yeah.
For those that know Jira.
Yep.
So you adapt to it, and we will do the best we can for each platform. And the nice thing about that it was originally stated to be in Devolution Server for the PAM space, but David insisted that it was created as a reusable system, so we can introduce it in RDM, in the hub, in everywhere. It's reusable code that will interact with a ticketing system. So we're there, and then the admin tab we already covered.
All right. Very neat.
11:21. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Not too bad at all.
The Q&A was supposed to be half an hour, so
Sure.
we have more time for you.
Absolutely. So if there's any specific questions right now, first of all, several have asked already if this is going to be recorded, and it is being recorded.
Right.
And give me about maybe a day or two to put it on YouTube and finalize that, and then we'll push it out to our YouTube subscribers, as well as we'll probably send an email out, a follow-up email to this event, where you can watch it at your own leisure, because I know some of you have to step in, step out, and the time, especially in Europe, sometimes is not convenient for you. So we'll get that video for you as soon as possible. Yeah. And then if there's any questions you want to ask specifically, Maurice, I know we have some people in the chat, but what were we going to say, Mo?
I was going to say about the Devolution Server webinar.
Oh,
It's going to be our first attempt.
Okay.
We'll have 2 webinars on the same topic,
Okay.
almost the same presentations, because our Europeans friend are staying late for us. They're staying after work, and we feel that we should do better. So we'll do one at your 1300 hours, 1 p.m.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So we're going to do the same event, but
Yes.
yeah, one for European.
Yes.
So we'll specify that when we send out the invites.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
So if you're a European customer and you'd rather watch it later on, or you're a America's customer and you want to watch it later on, but the idea it'll be geared specifically, because we want to be fair. Because I understand a lot of we have some really great customers in Europe that it just makes it really challenging. I mean, we saw somebody I think from Australia too as well. So
so we'll do our best. So cover these
same
2
event
blocks
but 2
of
times.
time. So one Eastern, one Europe time, and the other one 10 a.m. this morning. Yeah. So So we'll do both, and we'll see, because we're thinking about doing more events that way. I know we're for sure we'll do the Devolution Server one, because there's a lot of talk about PAM and privacy, obviously. So we'll do that. And we'll see the attendance, and we'll see where that brings us, for sure.
Okay.
So with that, and then again, follow our social media pages, because again, we're going to Baltimore, Chicago, Dallas, Dulles,
Yes.
Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, Las Vegas, IT Connect, I think it's called.
Oh yeah.
Huge show.
Sure.
So we'll be traveling pretty much everywhere. Nuremberg, I mentioned earlier. For some shows, it's just we can meet up informally, but for bigger shows, we'll have something formal. Rent a space somewhere, have a cocktail, bites, and have a nice chat with our customers.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because at trade shows, we focus on getting new customers, but we love seeing you there. And we want to chat with you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much once again, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, morning, evening, wherever you are around the world. It's amazing that we can interact like this. But thank you again, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. All right? Thank you so much.